Give me your entry code right now. She said it like she owned the entire complex, chin tilted high, clipboard hugged to her chest like a badge of absolute power. I'd never laid eyes on her before, yet there she stood on my welcome mat in Building C of Ocean View condominiums, tossing around phrases like mandatory audit and board authority, waiting for me to blink first. I told her no, calm and clear, the way you learn to speak when you've spent 25 years staring down liars for a living. She leaned in, flashed a smile thin as a razor, and snapped a photo of my door as if the click alone sealed her threats in stone. By the time her heels finished their angry staccato down the hallway, I already had the ring clip cued and a cold knot tightening in my gut. I've seen every flavor of scam and lawsuit in the insurance game, but this one marched straight up to my front door in broad daylight. Stick around, because what she tried next will make your blood boil and your jaw drop in the same breath. My name is Robert Harlan. I'm 58, divorced once, remarried to the job, and an insurance claims adjuster who spent more than 2 decades sniffing out fraud from Miami to Minneapolis. On an ordinary Tuesday in early spring, I was buried in a suspicious rear-end collision claim. Driver insisting the light was green, dashcam telling a different story, when my doorbell started chiming like a fire alarm. 1 ring, 2, 3, 4, someone leaning on the button with intent. I thumbed the Ring app. A woman in her early 50s filled the frame. Sharp navy blazer, hair pulled back so tight it looked painful, clutching that clipboard like a battle shield. Professional on the surface, but the posture was all wrong. Too aggressive, too entitled. Mr. Harlan, open this door immediately. HOA business. Her voice crackled through the intercom, dripping with the certainty of someone who's never been told no and lived to regret it. I cracked the door 6 cautious inches, chain still latched. Can I help you? I'm Diane Marshall, board chair of Ocean View condominiums. I need your door entry code right now for a mandatory security audit. She stepped forward, trying to wedge her foot in the gap the way pushy salesmen do. Her perfume hit me like a chemical warning. I'm not comfortable giving out my personal security code, I said, keeping my voice level. In my line of work, you learn to stay ice calm when the pressure cooker starts whistling. This isn't a request, she interrupted, volume climbing. HOA regulations require immediate compliance. Every resident must provide access codes when requested by board authority. That's when every red flag I own went vertical. 6 months earlier, the day I moved in, I'd read the condo bylaws cover to cover, professional habit from a lifetime of fine print. I could quote the parking rules verbatim, but I'd never seen anything about handing over door codes. Which regulation exactly? I asked. I've reviewed the documents pretty thoroughly. Her cheeks flushed the color of a stop sign. Article 15, Section C. Are you refusing to comply with a direct board directive? I smelled a con the way I smell bad faith on a medical claim form. Same sour note. I just want to verify the actual rule. Can you show me the text? Her mask slipped clean off. Refusal noted. She yanked out her phone, photographed my door and deadbolt like a crime scene tech, then started typing with 2 furious thumbs. You'll be receiving an invoice for this violation, for documentation purposes. She spun on her heel. 48 hours to pay or face legal consequences. She called over her shoulder as her heels hammered the tile like punctuation marks. I stood there a long moment, door still ajar, letting the hallway air conditioning cool the sweat on my neck. She'd just billed me in real time for protecting my own privacy. In 25 years, I'd seen people fake whiplash, stage slip and falls, even torch their own garages, but this was brand new audacity. I shut the door, pulled up the Ring app again, and watched the whole exchange in crisp 1080p. Her voice demanding codes, her fabricated citation, her threats about liens and eviction, all time-stamped. My phone buzzed at 4:47 p.m., an email with letterhead that looked disturbingly official. Ocean View Condominiums HOA violation notice. Invoice, security access code refusal, Article 15C violation. Amount due, $500. Description, refusal to provide mandatory security access codes as required by HOA regulations. Payment deadline, 48 hours from notice delivery. Late fees, legal costs, possible lease termination. I read it 3 times to be sure I wasn't hallucinating. $500 for saying no. I screenshotted the email, the Ring clip, the invoice PDF. Evidence is oxygen in fraud work. The next hour, I went full investigator. Building directory on the lobby corkboard. No Diane Marshall listed on any board roster. I pulled the actual bylaws from the management company portal. 12 articles, nothing past Article 12, no Section C anywhere. Google search, HOA required door code, 0 legitimate hits, no state statute, no municipal code, nothing. Then I took a walk to the mailroom. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. I angled my phone to peek inside the glass mailbox windows without touching anything. Units 3B, 7A, 12C, identical cream envelopes, same Ocean View letterhead peeking out. Same violation nonsense. This wasn't personal, it was a dragnet. I started with 3B. Mrs. Eleanor Grayson answered on the second knock, chain still latched, silver hair escaping her bun, eyes darting like a cornered sparrow. Are you here about the HOA fine? She whispered before I could introduce myself. Looks like we're in the same boat, ma'am, I said gently. Her shoulders sagged with something between relief and exhaustion. She unhooked the chain and let me in. Eleanor's apartment smelled of chamomile and old books. She poured 2 cups with shaking hands. I paid her $500 last month, she said, voice cracking. Said it was for unauthorized landscaping modifications. I don't even have a patio garden. She showed me papers, official looking, said the board voted on new regulations. I'm on a fixed income, Mr. Harlan. Social Security barely covers rent and medicine. She said they'd start eviction proceedings if I didn't pay by wire transfer. I was so scared I'd end up on the street at 78. I took photos of her PayPal receipt, her bank statement showing the $500 outgoing, the threatening emails Diane had sent. Pattern number 1. Unit 7A smelled of baby powder and coffee. Sarah Mitchell, 32, night shift ER nurse, opened the door juggling a toddler on her hip and a grocery bag. If this is about the noise complaint, I work 12-hour shifts. My daughter naps when I'm gone. When I mentioned Diane Marshall, Sarah's face darkened like a storm front. That woman is a nightmare. She billed me $750 for daytime disturbances. I'm at the hospital from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Who's making noise? When I asked for proof, she threatened to call Child Protective Services, said an unsafe environment could cost me custody. I scraped together $200 just to make her stop calling. I still owe the rest, she says. I documented her partial payment receipt, the CPS thread email, the sleep-deprived circles under her eyes. Pattern number 2. Weaponize what people love most. Unit 12C belonged to Alex Turner, 21, aerospace engineering major. His parents in Ohio had wired $1,500 to prevent their son's eviction over fabricated guest policy violations. We took a home equity loan. His mom told me over speakerphone, voice thick. College is expensive enough. Maintenance supervisor Mike Brennan met me in the boiler room, wiping grease from his hands. She offered me $500 a month cash to back her up and keep quiet about complaints. Said she'd get me fired if I refused. I told her no, but I'm not proud I stayed quiet this long. By dusk I tallied at least $3,200 in 1 month, all funneled to HO Services LLC on PayPal. I built a fraud file the way I build claim files, color-coded tabs, timelines, witness statements, financial trails. Then I called Diane, phone on record, perfectly legal in our one-party consent state. This invoice is fraudulent, I told her. You violated clearly stated policy, she snapped. Payment due in 46 hours. Non-compliance triggers another $250 fee. I'm not paying to keep my code private. That's defiance of board authority. Legal fees will exceed $2,000 in court. I suggest you reconsider your attitude. Click. More evidence, gift wrapped. Diane's counterattack came Wednesday before coffee. An email from property manager James Whitaker. Formal complaint. Hostile resident behavior during official audit. Mandatory 9 a.m. Meeting or risk lease termination. P.S. The ring cloud clip from the confrontation? Corrupted during routine system maintenance. Convenient. I arrived at the management office at 8:55, folder thick with printouts. James avoided eye contact, gestured to a chair like I was contagious. Diane entered in a pastel cardigan, soft voice, folder of forged witness statements. She played the shaken victim to perfection. Thank you for arranging this, James, she murmured. Building safety is my only concern. She claimed I'd raised my voice, stepped toward her aggressively, used language that made her fear for her safety. James nodded along, clearly snowed. When I mentioned Eleanor's $500, Diane's eyes flashed triumph. Mr. Harlan has been harassing vulnerable residents with conspiracy theories. Mrs. Grayson mentioned he asked invasive questions about her finances. She'd gotten to Eleanor first, scared her silent. The meeting ended with Diane's mediation offer, $750 cash, full compliance with future directives, or eviction plus police involvement. I walked out feeling sucker punched. By afternoon my boss called. Diane had phoned HR with tales of threats and aggression. We have to suspend you pending investigation, Rob. Liability issues. Throughout the week neighbors avoided me in the elevator. Diane plastered lobby bulletin boards with new security policies and veiled warnings about problem residents under investigation. She formed an Ocean View Safety Committee and seated next door with coded posts about a dangerous tenant. My driver's license photo circulated. Parents steered kids away. My girlfriend Laura got a tearful call from a concerned neighbor warning her about my escalating behavioral problems. Doubt crept into Laura's voice like frost. It just seems like a lot of coincidences, Rob. Friday her final demand. $1,500 mediation fee in 24 hours or full legal assault. Liens, lawsuits, the works. I could have paid and walked away. Instead I treated it like the complex fraud case it was. I phoned attorney Rebecca Sullivan, an old ally from insurance litigation. We'd tangled with staged accident rings together. This is criminal wire fraud, elder abuse, extortion, she said after reviewing my evidence. Build the case for the DA. Federal statutes means serious time. I created triple redundant encrypted backups, mapped every payment, subpoenaed Diane's emails through Rebecca. Victims came forward once they realized they weren't alone. Eleanor produced bank records and a tear-stained apology for staying quiet. Sarah gave a sworn statement between shifts. Alex's parents sent wire confirmations. Mike confirmed the bribe on record and admitted Diane had pressed for master key access during maintenance hours. Diane's emails read like a predator's playbook. Residents sorted by vulnerability, fixed-income seniors, single parents, students. She'd run identical scams in Ohio and Florida, vanishing before cuffs came out. One email bragged about portable business model, low overhead, high fear factor. I set up a recorded call. I'll consider mediation if you explain the exact regulation. She repeated the fake Article 15C, then let slip, I've handled dozens of these across multiple communities. Non-compliant residents always pay in the end. Confession on tape. Rebecca filed with the DA Friday afternoon. I sent Diane's certified notice, cease all collections, return funds in 30 days, or face federal prosecution with documented evidence. Diane panicked. Fake emails to my company claimed I was under federal embezzlement probe, complete with forged case numbers. Social media sock puppets posted my photo with warnings of violence. She filed a false police report alleging physical threats. Officers showed. I played the ring clip. She claimed I'd doctored it to stalk her. Sunday, she mailed a letter on bogus law firm letterhead demanding $25,000 for defamation and emotional distress. Each escalation added charges to the pile. Tuesday, Channel 9 reporter Lisa Chin called. They tracked similar scams metro-wide. Rebecca convinced me publicity would shield us from retaliation. Lisa verified every document with digital forensics experts, interviewed victims off-camera, scheduled a Friday night expose. We booked the community room for 4 p.m. Friday, invites to every unit except Diane's. 53 residents packed in, more than any meeting in building history. Folding chairs scraped, coffee percolated, tension crackled. Diane stormed in uninvited. As board chair, I should have been consulted. I started the projector. Ring footage rolled, her voice demanding codes, inventing regulations. Gasps rippled. Payment trails flashed, every dollar to her personal PayPal. Eleanor stood, 80 years old, voice trembling but clear. I skipped meals to pay her $1,200. I was terrified of losing my home. Sarah spoke of CPS threats. Alex's mom called in about the $1,500 wire. Mike admitted the bribe and master key request. Phones recorded everything. Sarah live-streamed to Nextdoor. Viewer count hit 3,000. Diane shrieked about conspiracy and doctored evidence. The room turned. Motion to ban her from property, unanimous. Motion to pursue criminal charges, unanimous. Motion to cover my legal expenses, overwhelming. That evening, Channel 9 aired. Local woman runs fake HOA scam, extorts neighbors. The story went viral. Victims from prior complexes surfaced in Ohio, Florida, even Texas. Detectives executed the warrant before Diane could bolt. FBI took over once interstate patterns emerged. Search of her apartment uncovered a fraud factory, color-coded victim folders, violation templates, laundering spreadsheets, fake letterhead on a color laser printer. Over 5 years, 127 confirmed victims, $340,000 stolen across 4 states. Trial was brutal. Eleanor, 80 now, testified about skipped dinners and sleepless nights. Sarah spoke of choosing between rent and her daughter's school supplies. Prosecutors played every recording, traced every dollar. Diane represented herself at first, claiming expert HOA knowledge, until the judge discovered she'd never passed a bar exam anywhere. Guilty on all counts: wire fraud, elder abuse, identity theft, extortion, racketeering. 14 years federal prison, full restitution, lifetime ban from any HOA role. Diane, real name Diane Marie Keller, screamed as deputies dragged her out. This is Robert Harlan's fault. 2 years later, the ripple effects keep growing. Eleanor, treasurer of our real elected board, runs transparent budgets and hosts monthly coffee and finance chats. Sarah finished nursing school, founded a tenant rights nonprofit, and lobbies for anti-fraud clauses in lease agreements. Alex lectures campuses on rental scams. His TEDx talk has 2.1 million views. Mike manages the building with open books and resident oversight. Waitlist for apartments is now 18 months. I train new adjusters nationwide. Map the enterprise, not just the incident. State law, now called Keller's Law, mandates background checks and annual audits for HOAs. HUD's task force has busted 47 copycat operations, recovered $4.3 million. Ring rolled out tamper-proof cloud backups with fraud alert flags. A Netflix limited series starts filming next spring. Diane still tries to charge inmates for fake legal advice at FCI Danbury. Release date, 2038. Assuming good behavior, she shows no sign of offering. Every new resident gets our story in the welcome packet under the heading Know Your Rights. When my doorbell rings now, I feel gratitude for neighbors who found courage, for evidence that held, for a system that worked when we stood together. Refusing to hand over my code that Tuesday started a chain reaction that protected hundreds, changed laws, and turned victims into advocates. The lesson is simple. Demand proof, document everything, and never let a bully in a blazer speak for your community. What about you? Have you ever faced a petty tyrant hiding behind fake authority, at work, in your neighborhood, even in your family? Did you fight, fold, or find another way? Drop your story in the comments, especially if it touches on bullying, quiet violence, or the slow grind of injustice. Take a stand. Let's keep the conversation going and the next Diane from ever getting started.